This is one page from Amazon's second quarter. Net sales, $200.6 billion, up 20%. Operating income, $27.5 billion, up 43%. Both of those are good numbers by any reading, and both describe a business selling things to customers. Then the page keeps going, and net income comes in at $62.6 billion, $5.75 a share against $1.68 the year before. Nothing between those two lines is a business. The whole video is about the distance between $27.5 billion and $62.6 billion, and about the fact that the distance is disclosed, labeled, and still routinely reported as profit growth. The bridge is a single line item, $53.4 billion of non-operating pre-tax other income, which Amazon attributes primarily to its investments in Anthropic. Sit with the size of that for a second. The gain booked below the operating line is nearly twice everything the operating line produced. AWS, the segment carrying the story this year, did $42.2 billion of revenue in the quarter, and the Anthropic line is larger than all of it. Amazon did not conceal any of this. It is in the release, in the sentence announcing net income in the same paragraph. The disclosure is not the problem. What happens to the number downstream of the disclosure is. Here is the mechanism, because it is less exotic than it looks. When a company holds a minority stake in another company, and that stake is remeasured to a higher value, the increase runs through the income statement as income, not through a reserve, not through equity, through profit. No shares changed hands, no cash arrived. What happened is that Anthropic raised at a valuation, and Amazon's existing position was rewritten to match it. The gain is real in the sense that it reflects an observable price. It is not real in the sense most people mean by profit, which is money the business generated and could spend. And it is symmetrical, which is the part that tends to get skipped. The same rule that added $53.4 billion on the way up subtracts on the way down. Amazon is not an outlier this quarter. It is an example. Alphabet, same quarter. Revenue $119.8 billion, operating income $40.8 billion, a strong operating result on its own terms. Net income $112.1 billion, diluted earnings per share $9.11. The gap is $98 billion of other income, which Alphabet's release attributes to net unrealized gains on its equity securities, and names nobody. So at two of the largest companies in the world, in the same 3 months, the single biggest driver of reported profit growth was a revaluation of private holdings. Unrealized is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Nothing was sold, and where the holdings are private, the valuations come from funding rounds, not from a market you can trade against. When two of the most watched earnings points in the index are moved this much by the same non-operating item, the aggregate index numbers built on top of them inherit it. None of this is an accusation. Every figure here is from the company's own releases, presented the way the accounting standards require. The failure is downstream, in a headline that reports net income growth without the line that produced it, and in a reader who has no reason to know that a number below the operating line can be twice the size of the one above it. So the practical version is short. Operating income is the line describing the business. Net income, this cycle, is that line plus a mark on somebody else's valuation. The two answer different questions, and only one of them tells you whether the operation got better. The next quarter these stakes are marked down. The same arithmetic runs in reverse, and the same headlines will describe it as a collapse in profits. It will be exactly as misleading then.